New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. I serve as the Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland. I am also the author of the book, The Soul of Prosperity, including a number of other books, such as Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board, Prosperity from A to Z, 30 P's for Prosperity, and Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, all of which are available on ebook and now on audiobook as well. So every Sunday evening, we get together and we discuss many aspects of prosperity. We may discuss family prosperity, where our families are a source of inspiration, healing, and hope. We may discuss professional prosperity, where we have a perfect job with perfect pay, where we perform a wonderful service in a wonderful way, a la Florence Scovel-Shinn. We may discuss logistical prosperity, where our lives are simply easy, more effortless, and we feel more supported. We may discuss relationship prosperity, where we develop an inner feeling of unconditional loving acceptance and self-support, and that inner feeling of unconditional loving acceptance and self-support gets reflected in our outer world with relationships that are accepting of us and supportive of us. And of course, we may also discuss financial prosperity, which of course means that we've got more than enough to spare and to share. So we often discuss either ways that we can remove the barriers to the prosperity that already exists, or ways that we can develop even more of a prosperity consciousness. So tonight, we're going to do a special program called Adapt Your Way to Prosperity. And this is a very important yet subtle aspect of prosperity consciousness. Because, quite interestingly, the skill of adaptation is crucial to allowing God to serve us through an infinite number of channels in an infinite number of ways. But our ego selves can often be resistant to that sort of adaptability and flexibility. It's important because the creative process is very dynamic. It's very heuristic. In any given moment, there are literally billions of possibilities. Through our human eyes, we may see only one. But given the fact that at any moment there are billions of possibilities, being adaptable opens us to more of a likelihood that we would manifest our good. And that's why being adaptable is so important. God can also see around corners that we can't. And sometimes we, as A Course in Miracles said, we don't know what's in our best interest when God does. So it is important to develop a consciousness of adaptability. Adaptability releases us from the resistance that we don't even know that we're carrying when we insist that it be a certain way at a certain time and only through certain circumstances, instead of untying God's hands so that all of the resources of the universe are available to us, that we would use them to manifest our good. So Reverend Michael, our producer, Reverend Michael Mangus, and I are going to discuss being adaptable today. So hello, Reverend Michael.
So I'm being adaptable this evening by being on and being told 15 minutes before airtime. Yeah, so good to be with you again this evening. And I know that this is a very, very interesting topic. So as far as I was thinking about the topic of being adaptable. So what I notice is that sometimes is that, like, for example, let's say that we have a dream or a goal, and we say it has to be that way, and that the whole idea that the path to the goal is a straight line, or we think it is, when in effect that it's a wavy line. So talk about that wavy line and how that we can tap into being flexible with our desires, and also flexible in how that we want our outcome to come out.
Yes. Okay. That's a lot, but I can do a lot of talking.
All right. Okay.
Okay. First of all, why is the line wavy? In other words, why is creation so cyclical, so dynamic, so heuristic, as opposed to linear? It's because of all the possibilities that exist. And God wants what is for your greatest good. So there's going to be a lot of trying on different possibilities for size, in the same way that you go buy a new winter coat and you try on 10.
Absolutely.
So that is why the line to creation may not be straight. And the other aspect of why it may not be straight, because the line to creation leads back to us.
Okay.
And it's not about creating something outside of us. As Rumi said, it's about removing the barriers to what already exists.
Right.
So there's this process of layer by layer, uncovering our unconscious resistance. And each time we uncover a layer of our unconscious resistance, it may seem like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But that is really growth. And let me share with you why that is growth in terms of light and the manifestation with divine substance or light. Our human selves, you know how they say we have a hard heart?
Yes.
Yes, that's contracted energy. And when we are in our human egos, all our past trauma, all our fears, all our doubts, all our shame, and the memory of when things didn't work, that's contracted energy. And we have to break out of that, break through that. So what do? We pray, we meditate, we align with the energy of God, and the energy of God breaks through that layer by layer. So we have a breakthrough, and it's almost as if we have this quantum step forward. And the light goes deeper into us, and then that light touches yet a deeper layer of resistance. And we have another breakthrough. So we have a quantum step forward. And then it may seem like we have a contraction again, but that's the light going deeper. Now, we as humans, we think the process is supposed to be linear, so we get discouraged. When in truth, we should be encouraged, because this oscillation is the way that resistance is dissolved. And this 2 steps forward, 1 step back is not a sign of our failure. It's a sign of our success and our forward momentum. So that's why it's not a straight line.
Well, I was reading Dr. Catherine Ponder the other day, and she said for any type of manifestation, she said, if you picture daily, if you write it as if you've already received it, you speak it out loud, and I added one, feel, and what happens is, again, that it manifests, and that what happens when you do all this is that doubts and fears come up.
Yes.
So what's going on is a lot deeper than what we want to manifest in our lives. What's going on is a process of revealing the God essence within us. So we have this desire, this physical desire. So for us to have that physical desire, that we do all the things that I just said, and also listen. Listen to the doubts and the fears that come up. So when they do come up, how do we work through those?
We work through them by going into our safe space. That is the place where we have become adept at hearing the voice for God, stilling ourselves to receive the voice for God, and getting into our higher self so that we can look objectively at our inner saboteurs and the doubts and fears that they have. So a regular daily spiritual practice of meditation, of prayer, of self-observation, and a daily spiritual practice of allowing ourselves to be showered with the light of God helps us to do the daily work of manifestation. And it's actually not work at all. It's just uncovering anything that stands between us and the prosperity in any form that already exists. And the other aspect of it that is so important is something that you alluded to in that, which is that we pray daily, and our ego may have certain goals or goal posts, right? But as A Course in Miracles says, God is my only goal today. And the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added unto you. And the kingdom of heaven lies within you. So that inner work is simply, as you alluded, the work of being at one with God, remembering that we are gods and goddesses, and remembering that part and parcel of being the beloved expression and extension of God is not only our deservingness, but our power to allow our heart's desires to flow to us effortlessly. So the more you get into your God space, the more you know yourself as that God co-creator, and the more you allow yourself to be that. And that's why the daily spiritual practice is so important.
So talk to us about the whole idea of, and I've read this in several manifestation books, and I use it also, the whole idea of really just getting rid of the physical manifestation and asking yourself, well, how will this make me feel? And then adapt the feelings that you would have if you've already received it. Talk about how that opens up the manifestation process.
That is extremely important in being adaptable as well. Neville Goddard did a lot of work on this. In my book, The Soul of Prosperity, we work with the emotional energy, which is actually the energy that takes the divine substance that is an infinite supply that we call forth in prayer, and our emotions mold that energy into patterns that find its reflections. We don't see reflections of what we want or desire in our outer world. We see reflections of our energetic emotional state. So to manifest what you desire, it is important to ask, what is the emotional state that I desire? And I have a phrase called untying God's hands, and it's apropos here. What is the end state that I desire? And when you start with the idea, what is the end state that I desire? You untie God's hands because you may be thinking of one specific object, but God may have 20 different ways, or your higher self as God may have 20 different ways that this state can be attained. And ultimately, what you want is to be in that inner state.
Mm-hmm.
So you focus on the energy of that state. You focus on how you will feel. And that unties God's hands to cause you to allow what you desire through an infinite number of forms in an infinite number of ways. And God will do it. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
When my mother lay dying of cancer, and I was here in the DC area while she was in Pittsburgh, one day I was up there a lot, but one day I came back home and nobody knew that I had come back home. I came home to do some bills and to do some this and to do some that. Nobody knew that. So I sat in my meditation room, and my inner child, who was afraid of losing its mommy, just had a talk with God, had a good cry, had a good wailing session. All that despair and fear and anger and rage and all those energies flowed from me, creating a void. And that child needed to be comforted. That child needed to know that God's love and light would always be with it, and that the, quote, mother's love, that feminine energy of love, was from God and would always show up.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was in this session with myself, I had turned off, my ringers on my phones, and this was back in the days of answering machines, codaphones. And that's will tell you how long ago it was.
Yes.
But my answering machine, I didn't hear it clicking. But when I got finished with that session, 7 different older women had called me just to check up on me. And none of them knew that God used them as channels to bring to me the reassurance that I would always have a mother's love.
Mm.
But that's how God works if you let it. Now, I could have been there mad and sad. I want my mommy, I want my mommy, I want my mommy. But the real desire was to fill my heart with love, and specifically to fill my heart with the feeling of love from a maternal figure.
Mm-hmm.
And that adaptability, that flexibility allowed God to serve me through an infinite number of channels, or at least 7, in a number of different ways, because God touched each of their hearts to call me. They didn't know I was home. That's how God works when we can adapt to release our stranglehold on it coming from one form and one way and allow God to serve us through multiple forms in a multitude of ways.
So what's coming up here is I help produce a program for the Heal Your Life Training Institute with Louise Hay.
Yes.
And one of the things that Louise says is that one of the blocks to our good is our deservability. Can you talk about that and how that is something that we need to overcome to bring forth the greater good in our lives?
Yes. That is adapting ourselves to our true selves. You see, we believe we are this. I am of this race. I am of this age. I am of this set of experiences. I am of this geographic location. I am of this educational level. I am of this income level. And I am of this zip code. This is what we believe we are. In truth, we are simply light. We are simply love. We don't have a race. We don't have a geographic location. You know that when you sleep and you have those flying dreams. We
Mhm.
don't have income constraints or restrictions. All of these things we thought we were have nothing to do with what God created us to be. And we must to who we adapt to who we really are, because this part of us believes that we are not deserving. That part of us my fist is balled because it's energy that is contracted due to
Mhm.
its trauma. It's been told by the world what it wasn't. It's been told by the world what it doesn't deserve. It's been traumatized by the world that it believed to be wicked and hostile, and it believes itself to be banished from the kingdom of heaven, guilty, and undeserving. But when we adapt into our highest self, our highest vision of ourselves, where those constraints no longer exist, it's like opening the palm to receive God's grace that was always there. And so we have to adapt our perception of ourselves to the truth, which
Mhm.
is another aspect of adaptability.
So let's say that there's a heart's desire. And what I
Yes.
mean by that is that there's something that does not let you go,
Mhm.
something that is germinating within us
Yes.
that is desiring to come forth,
Yes.
and that we are not seeing it manifest
Yes.
in our time frame
Yes.
and in our world. So talk to us about how we, with that desire that's within us, how can we overcome the fear and the blocks that are maybe keeping it from us?
Yes. Yes. By listening to those fears and blockages, and knowing that God is in the mix and God's time may not be our time because God's spirit can't tell time. But this goes back to us not knowing what is for our greatest good because we can't see around corners. But God knows what is for our greatest good because God can. And so trusting God's time is important. You see, our ego is always believes that it's on this treadmill and it's got to outrun pain. So our ego is always in running mode. I must do this to avoid pain. I must do this in order to feel good about myself. I must do this in order to not receive the judgment and punishment that I have learned to fear. So our ego is always trying to outrun pain.
Mhm,
And so our ego is always in that rush. But God is trying to pull us forward to joy. And it's a
mhm.
totally different dynamic. So our task is to understand God's timing and to trust God's timing. And one of the best ways to develop that trust of God's timing is to sit with God regularly and deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it's so important to sit with God regularly and deeply is because God is love. And when you sit with love regularly and deeply, you allow love to pull you forward, and you are no longer as motivated to outrun pain, because in the energy of love, you realize that there is not room for pain. There are two energies, love and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are in the energy of love, there is no room for fear. The energy of fear is incompatible with that. So
Mm-hmm.
the more we inundate ourselves with the energy, the vibration, and the feeling of love, the less we are able to get possessed by that sense of fear that causes us to believe that we must outrun punishment. And then we don't have the anxiety of time that a human ego has.
We have a question.
Okay. You can read them. I can't.
I will read it. This is from Jane Batch. A young man at work started talking about manifestation and affirmation. Yes, Jane, that's because that our younger folks, they're adapting that into their vocabulary. I was surprised. Is the word getting out? Are younger people on a new wavelength? May I take a quick try at that?
Absolutely.
I think what's going on, Jane, is again that as Jim has talked about week after week, is that we are in a different vibration here on planet Earth, that we are being inundated by light. And what is going on is that a lot of the influences of our younger folks, our millennials, is by individuals who practice manifestation and affirmations. So for this knowledge to come forth now is not surprising. That again, that the light is very, very bright, and that's one of the reasons I think that we are experiencing the chaos that we are, not only in our political realm, but in economics and other world events. So the task is to focus on the light and to continue to coach our young people. Now, what I would do, and you don't have to, Jane, but what I would do is I would say to that young man, I would say, I have a really good book that I think that would really help you in this. Have you ever read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind? That's a good book to give, or to give The Secret. Just something.
Or The Soul of Prosperity by Reverend Jim Webb.
That is a shameless plug, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
That is not a shameless plug. That is a shameless plug in all caps.
In all
bold, underlined, and italicized.
Available now at Amazon. I would say that, again, to encourage that and encourage conversation, that I think when The Secret came out, I think there was a lot of confusion about manifestation and about affirmations, and that there was confusion about the underlying spirituality that was there, which was now we've talked about it this evening. Jim saying that, is again, having that personal relationship with the God of the universe that's manifested as us. So with that young man, Jane, I would say that that's an opening for a greater conversation. that
Absolutely.
that you could say, well, have you read I would say the power of your subconscious mind and then the soul of prosperity. I that just I really like Joseph Murphy, and that I think that's a really good beginning point. Another good book, which is still in print, it's called Creative Visualization.
Is
That
that Shakti Gawain?
Shakti Gawain, right.
Yes.
And that's been around for like 40 years. So those are two really good things I think that uh, really will help develop. There is a reason, Jane, why that young man confided in you.
Yes.
I'm sensing there's a deeper reason. So I really support you, and again, in allowing spirit to work in and through you here, as far as being kind of that way shower on the path here, because that I'm just picking up that was not by mistake.
No, not at all.
That was not, no, that was intentional. That
Yes.
somehow or another that he is ready to take it to the next level, or
Yes.
he wouldn't have said anything to you.
Yes.
Your
And
comments, Reverend Jim.
yes. And I just want to add on to that ever so slightly. And you, Reverend Jane, you absolutely know and are adept at taking it to the next level. A lot of this, as Reverend Michael said, a lot of this is now in the common zeitgeist, in the universal mind, but it's in the universal mind to some degree at a surface level.
Yes.
You know, the secret, as Reverend Michael alluded, was kind of at a surface level. The power of the subconscious mind helps us to go deeper into understanding the unconscious blockages to that desire, and that's a wonderful next step. And the power and the soul of prosperity integrates the affirmation, visualization, and it takes Shakti Gawain's visualization to a deeper level. It takes it from the ego visualizing what it wants, which
Mhm.
was the perspective of Shakti Gawain, to visioning, as Michael Beckwith does, where we work with God to create a co-vision that enables provision.
Right.
For with a co-vision with God comes the provision of God. So it's not just our ego saying, I want, I want, I want. So this young man is, as Reverend Michael alluded, has come to you so that you could take him deeper beneath the surface ideas of I need to affirm and visualize to the deeper idea, I need to understand what's blocking me, heal those blockages, come in union with God, and create with God. Now, the other thing I'd say is A Course in Miracles Lesson 75 says, the light has come. You can heal. You are healed and you can heal. The
Mhm.
light on the earth is so strong right now that all of you are ministers of God. That's a Course in Miracles lesson 154. You are among the ministers of God. And these souls have actually contracted that you would be their earth angels to guide them deeper. So all of you, don't be surprised when things like this start happening to you. The
Mhm.
light has come. You are healed and you can heal, and you are among the ministers of God.
So, and it's just to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, Jim, is that it's not the manifestation of the stuff.
Mhm.
It's having that deep personal relationship with the divine.
Mhm.
That's what we want.
Yes.
Now, and again, the ego says, well, if we have this and we have that, and, we have the new car and we have the trips and we have the education. Okay. However, that sometimes that when people get those things is that they're still empty
Yes,
because that what they crave and what they want is that relationship with the divine is them. Talk a little bit more about that.
absolutely. So our souls know that the vast majority of our eternal energy is at one with God. There is a portion of our eternal energy that got it a little bit twisted. And that portion of our eternal energy, which at this point in our collective mastery, for many of us, is a small portion, that portion says, I'm magnetically attracted to Earth in order that I can transform this little bit of me that still needs to be in alignment with God. So we make these soul contracts. Carolyn Myss's book talks about this, The Journey of Souls. Those books talk about it as well. So we make these little contracts. And so the contract may sound something like this. I'm going to go down to earth and I'm going to be born under these circumstances. I'm going to have to overcome these barriers to get to this place.
Mhm.
And so the ego, the human body, when we forgot about all that soul contract stuff, says, okay, this is the bright, shiny object. This degree, this partnership with this person, this new car, this is the shiny object. And from the perspective of our ego feels that it wants that in order to address a void in our soul. And so that bright, shiny object, we just go for it. But our soul's like, yeah, he's down there chasing that bright, shiny object. What he doesn't remember is that he is really chasing the God within to uncover it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
through this process of getting the bright, shiny object, what we're really doing is uncovering and healing the parts of us that have been resistant to God, that have forgotten we are God, that believes that God is not with us and against us, and has forgotten that we are God for us.
Mhm.
And so we go through this process. We think it's to get the bright, shiny object, but it's really to uncover the parts of us that are ready to heal and to heal them.
Right.
So that's a very interesting way to look at why we sometimes pursue those bright, shiny objects. And I want to address one other thing you said there, Reverend Michael,
Okay.
and that is how when we approach that bright, shiny object from the perspective of, I must create this, manifest this in order to compensate for a lack or a void within me, what we're really doing is we're magnifying that lack or void within us. I don't think I'm
Right.
lovable. So if I do this, then I'll be lovable. We're magnifying our lack of lovability. And that's why when we get that thing, we're not satisfied. Or we may be satisfied for a heartbeat, then we must guard it jealously for fear that it would slip through our fingers again. So when we manifest from a place of lack, we magnify lack.
Mhm. Right.
But when we manifest from a place of fullness, we magnify the fullness. And that's
Yes.
something to remember as we work through this process of manifestation.
So really it's the God essence manifesting in and through and as us, and that what we're and that individuals go the other way too. Well, God is all that there is, and I don't have enough money for my rent, and that there's, I have to, and there's nothing wrong with going to the thrift store. All right. But
Mhm.
those are the kind of things where, again, that we have another opportunity to, again, to tap into our source that we are,
Yes.
to revisit who we are,
Yes.
to revisit that source of power that we are,
Yes.
and again, to create new circumstances, not from a sense of ego, but from a sense of oneness,
Yes.
that we're coming from that place. Jane went ahead and she wrote back. She says, "Thank you, Reverend Michael and Reverend Jim. Great ideas. Yes, I felt guided to share encouraging words with them." I would really recommend here, again, Reverend Jane, is that give them a book. Give him something, again, something that you feel inspired to give him. All right. So, or even ask him, if I bring a book in that talks more about what you're talking about, would you read it? And then you're able then to have a discussion. So this young man this did not happen by accident. On some level that he sensed the light in you, or he would not have opened up. So this is a divine appointment here that, again, that, you can go ahead and just let it go, or just to say, okay, I'm going to lean into this here. I'm not going to try to force anything on anyone, but an opportunity to share the spiritual essence, because again, that individuals sense that within us. It's still pretty woo-woo out there about this whole thing of manifestation and affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less woo-woo with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking to kids, the teens and the 20-somethings.
Yes.
But what it does is that, again, that the reason that in beginning classes of metaphysics, why we still teach people to, again, manifest princes, palaces, and parking spaces, is because that gives an opportunity to see how powerful we are.
Yes.
And that it gives us an opportunity then to take a look at ourselves and the relationship that we have with the divine as us. So all of the manifestation that's out there, all the books, and again, I have them. I have most of them too. All of them point again to how powerful we are.
Absolutely.
And so,
Reverend Michael, I think that is one of the things that we do on the other side of our break, is we look at ways that we can adapt to our spiritual power. And one of the ways that we can adapt is through acceptance. And let's talk about that on the other side of the break.
Okay, we can do that. We will take a really brief break. And then we'll be right back. This is the Miracle of Prosperity here on your New Thought Media Network.
What if the person you think you are is just a fraction of who you truly are? What if years of conditioning and surviving in a challenging world have left you clinging to strategies and beliefs that mask your truest nature? I'm Catherine Duca, psychotherapist and self-esteem coach, and you're listening to Who Do You Think You Are? A show that looks beneath our psychological masks and uncovers our profoundly messy, beautiful, brilliant, tender-hearted essence. Join me as we go in search of the hidden power of our true selves. I'm so glad you're here.
And we're back.
I was going to say that, but that's okay. And we're back on the
Yes.
New Thought Media Network, the Miracle of Prosperity. You know what? This hour has flown by very quickly. Do you have any final comments here before we start wrapping up?
Yes, I do, and it's very brief. And one of the ways that it is important for us to adapt our way to prosperity is by adapting to what is. And what I mean by this is as follows. Quite often, we look at our situation versus where we think we should be or where we think that the situation should be, and we get this feeling of inadequacy or this feeling of failure or this feeling of panic or this feeling of fear because we fear that we are not outrunning pain. And one of the ways that it is important for us to be adaptable is to, instead of comparing ourselves and condemning ourselves based on where we are versus where we think we should be, is to accept where we are, not as where we're going to stay, and not accepting it as if it is condoning the mistakes that we made to get there, but to accept this is the starting point that enables me to examine the consciousness that brought me here and to explore the consciousness that would take me where I want to go. So I will accept where I am, for it gives me an awareness of where I am versus where I want to go. Because quite often what happens is when we can't accept where we are, we start witching, moaning, getting afraid that something bad is going to happen. And that is an energy of resistance.
Yes.
That is counter to the flowing energy of creation and manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
So accepting where we are is a very powerful way to turbocharge ourselves to the next level. And that requires adaptability. Let me accept this instead of being in resistance or judgment of it. And that can help us immensely in our process of manifestation.
And that, again, what the Buddhists say, whatever that we resist persists. So again, if we can take kind of an observer viewpoint and say, oh, I'm there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. And
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
And that's being okay with that in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that can change.
Exactly.
So
that's what we have to say tonight. But
okay.
We're working on some stuff, huh?
Well, I am.
Yeah, tell us what you're working on.
So what we're doing here, myself and my meditation teacher, Reverend Dr. Carol Andrick, who's a very noted author, and also she's the past president of the American Holistic Nurses Association. She has, her street cred is real. And so she is holding on November the 24th, on a Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. She is holding a time for deep gratitude. So what we're going to be doing during that time, it's about 90 minutes, is to go into that vibration of gratitude. Again, letting go of frustrations and surrounding ourselves with that energy of gratitude, good health, and prosperity. So it's an opportunity, again, to just be in that energy of gratefulness, of gratitude. So again, let's move deeply into that. Now, this is a completely free program. My meditation teacher does not do a whole lot of classes anymore. So this is completely and totally free. If you would like more information, this is on November the 24th, on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. All you need to do is to send me an email, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. We're asking that individuals let us know by the 22nd. And again, this is a completely free program. This is, again, in conjunction with Summit Center for Spiritual Living here in Akron, and also the New Thought Media Network. So join us. Reverend Jim.
Yes.
You're very busy these days. What are you working?
Well, I'm working on some classes that begin this week.
Okay.
The first one is called Yes, You Can Channel Too. And I won't say much about that one because it's sold out. But what it is a 4-week experiential class that is an intensive on deepening our ability to connect with Spirit, to allow Spirit to speak to us and through us, and to feel comfortable feeling the love and grace of Spirit. It's sold out, but you can audit the class. And if you audit the class for $50, what I will do is when someone texts me at 2 p.m. and says, I can't make it to class tonight, I will then text you and say, would you like to join us? So that's Yes, You Can Channel Too. It begins tomorrow night. You can audit the class for $50 because the in-person slots are sold out. And then you'll be on the wait list. And I can contact you the afternoon of every class if there's an opening for you to actually participate real time. Otherwise, you will get the recordings anyway.
When we say that these classes sell out quickly, we are not kidding here. So what's the other class that you're offering, Reverend Jim?
The other class is called Vision Board Your New Year, and it involves some of the techniques that we've discussed tonight. It is a way for us to use the process that I call the self-manifesting vision boarding process, because in the process of putting together your vision board, you identify and eliminate the blockages to its manifestation. So it's a twofer, all in one. And that vision board that you develop is a blueprint for its manifestation that makes its manifestation easy and effortless. It starts this coming Thursday night. Now, I do have 2 in-person slots available for that class for anyone who wants them. And the first 2 people who contact me and let me know their intention will get those 2 in-person slots. But both of these classes are also available because we record them. And so if you can't make it, you will get the Zoom recordings and you can do it on your own time. So if this is a time that is not good for you, just audit the class for $50 and I will send you the recordings and you can use those at your own time and at your own pace. So these begin this week, and I have one last piece of good news before we say goodnight.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
My last piece of good news is that all 3 of my ebooks are available as audiobooks now.
Wow.
Yes.
How wonderful.
Yes. Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board is now an audiobook. 30 P's to Prosperity is now an audiobook. And Prosperity from A to Z is an audiobook. And of course, The Soul of Prosperity has been an audiobook for 2 years now.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, again, it's been an honor to be on your show this evening. Do you have any final comments for us this evening?
I want to thank you for stepping on camera, and I appreciate you and thank you for the wisdom that you shared with the audience. And I want to thank the audience for joining us here on the New Thought Media Network. Good night.